All right, so let's start with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. And this, of course, is coming from Israel, where after incendiary balloons were launched reportedly from the Palestinian enclave that resulted in some fires in Israel, the Jewish state resorted to yet another spate of bombings. The airstrikes targeted military bases belonging to Hamas in Khan Yunis. The bombings came after Israel cut the fishing zone of the Gaza Strip by nearly half. The military branch responsible for the civil affairs in the Palestinian territory said that the fishing zone had now been reduced from 12 nautical miles to just 6 nautical miles for the people of Gaza. The decision was made following the continued launching of the incendiary balloons from the Gaza Strip towards the state of Israel. Now, the Israeli army calls this a violation of Israel's sovereignty. Now, no injuries have been reported on either side so far. The Israeli Defense Force has said, and I quote, Hamas was responsible for all activities within the Gaza Strip and all actions originating in the Gaza Strip directed towards the state of Israel. It will therefore bear the consequences for the violence committed against the citizens of the state of Israel. Now, remember, earlier on Sunday, Israeli firefighters extinguished blazes at 3 spots in Eshkol. The incendiary balloons were the cause of the fire, and the balloons are very basic devices that are intended to set fire to farmlands surrounding the Israeli blockaded Palestinian enclave. On the 12th of July, Israel had announced a re-expansion of the fishing zone of the Gaza Strip, allowing additional imports into the Palestinian territory, but it had also warned the measure could be reversed in response to fresh unrest. Now, remember, in the month of May earlier this year, there was a prolonged 11-day-long conflict which saw Israel launch several hundreds of some of the most sophisticated bombs onto the people of Gaza. Now, Hamas also fired thousands of rockets at Israel, and prior to this conflict, Gaza fishing zone had been 15 nautical miles, which has now been reduced to just 6 nautical miles for the people of Gaza. Now, Israel had reduced the zone during the warfare, and even after the ceasefire between the two sides, the earlier nautical miles in terms of fishing zones had not been increased. Now, there's been sporadic unrest, with Hamas launching incendiary balloons and Israel, of course, responding with massive airstrikes where it claims that it targets the facilities that belong to Hamas. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.